Today we are going over solving systems of equations with eliminations a little bit more in detail. First, we're going to be starting off with verbal descriptions. But before we fully start on examples, we'll go over some of the key steps in solving by elimination. First, you want to combine the two equations so that one variable cancels out. In doing so, you may have to multiply one or both equations by a common factor to eliminate one variable. You need to solve for one variable, whichever variable is remaining, and then you want to substitute the value for the solved variable into the original equations and solve for the remaining variable. So, going into an example. Example 1. You buy 5 pairs of jeans and 10 t-shirts for $140. Your friend buys 3 pairs of jeans and 5 t-shirts for $79. Write and solve a system of equations to find the cost of each t-shirt. So in looking at what we are actually trying to find, we're trying to find the cost of t-shirts. We know that he bought 5 t-shirts and 3 pairs of jeans for $79. And we know that he had 5 pairs of jeans and 10 shirts for a total of $140. In this case, in comparison to our other video, we're not given one total cost, but we're given two different transactions. We're given your transaction, you purchasing the clothing, and then you're given your friend's value. So we need to make sure that we keep those together. So in doing so, first things first, let's classify our variables. Make sure I get the right font and size. We'll use T for t-shirts. And this is referring to its cost. And J for jeans cost. Remember, we're not just looking for jeans, we're looking for their cost. Now our equations, if we look at what you buy, it says that you bought 5 pairs of jeans and 10 t-shirts for $140. So all I did was I took the information I was given, 5 times however much the jeans cost, plus 10 times how much the t-shirts cost for $140. And we'll do the same concept for your friend. Your friend bought 3 pairs of jeans, so 3 times however much the jeans cost, plus 5 times however much the t-shirts cost, and it cost your friend $79. So with this, we created our two equations. We can go down and decide which variable we want to eliminate. Now looking at this with the least common multiple, t would be the easiest one to deal with by us having only to multiply the second equation. So I'm going to state that I'm going to eliminate T. Write down my two equations so I can show what I'm going to multiply by. Now, not only do I want them to be the least common multiple, just to make my job easier, but I also want them to be opposite. So if I were to multiply this with the intention of getting negative 10, I would need to multiply by negative 2. Keep it lined up. Just making it look nice. So, in the process of eliminating t, I want to multiply my second equation by negative 2 to change my 5t to be negative 10t. Now, next column, yet again, we show our work. We write down the equations after we multiply, not factor, we're multiplying. So we get negative 6j plus negative 10t, and this will equal, make sure I do my math right before I make a mistake on a basic problem, negative 158. Now from here I combine my two equations. Which will leave me with negative j. Sorry, didn't need that plus there. Negative j, the t's cancel out, equals negative 18. I would divide both sides by a negative 1 so that I can get j equals 18. Now I'll plug this into my original equation. Either one of them does not matter. I'm replacing my j value with 18. And then I solve for t. 5 times 18 is 90. Subtracting 90 from both sides leaves me with 10t equals 140 minus 90 is 50. And then divide both sides by 10 will give me 5. So in this case, J, my jeans, are worth $18 a pair, and my t-shirts are worth $5. So to answer the question that is asked, the t-shirts cost $5. Now we can continue this process on other examples. Fernando has 40 dimes and nickels worth $2.90. How many nickels does he have? So this one follows more of our older examples where it gives us a cost, our total price, as well as a total amount of coins. This one's specifically asking how many nickels. So we know which variable we need to solve for in order to be done. Oops, might need to move my cursor to the right place. We can have N for nickels. D for dimes. More specifically, the number of. Now, equation-wise, whenever we're giving a total amount, we can just add what they are talking about together. This will be our dimes and our nickels should add up to equal 40. When they give us a cost, we'll add them up together, but with their rates, each variable's rates. Nickels being worth 5 cents, so I show that as 0.05 for a nickel, plus the 10 cents for each dime, which is shown as 0.10, and this will equal the total worth $2.90. Now in this case, to simplify our work, we know that we are looking for nickels. So I can eliminate the dimes and just go for the nickels. Now I almost forgot to actually clarify what variable I'm going for, or going to eliminate. So I'm going to eliminate dimes. In order to do that, I would need to multiply this by 20. Depending on which way you want to go, I would have to multiply by a 0.05 or 20. I'm choosing to multiply by this, so I'm not dealing with any fractions. I should be dealing with, for the most part, or not fractions, I'm sorry, decimals. For the most part, I'll be dealing more with whole numbers. And I want it to be opposite, so it's going to be negative 20. Now, if you notice, my dimes and nickels are switched around in order. With addition, I can change this around. We can have it as nickels plus dimes, which is actually better for us. It doesn't mathematically matter, as we can always just combine like terms as they are switched, but to make it easier to read, you want to line them up nice and neat. So in this case, this will help us eliminate, this will help us eliminate nickels. 20 will help us eliminate nickels. We are trying to eliminate dimes, which we will multiply by 10, negative 10. There we go. Almost made a mistake there. That's why you always show your work. So with that, going through your steps, negative 10 times 0.05 n will be 0.50 n. Negative 0.05 n minus 1 dime keep this still lined up and this will equal -29. So in this case, you can see that we have our dimes lined up, our nickels are also lined up, and our whole numbers are lined up. We can go through our process of adding our two lines together. We get 0.50n. D cancels out, equals 11. Our last step is to divide both sides by 0.50, which will give us n equals 22, saying that the number of nickels we have is 22. Now this would be our answer. If we were multiple choice, we would look for this. If we want to continue to make sure that our value is correct, we can take one of our original equations. Or if we solve for the wrong variable, we can take our original equation, plug in our value, and subtract on both sides. But in this case, because it's asking specifically for the nickels, it does not ask for how many dimes we have. This is just to confirm that we have a solution, and we could plug it in the other one as well to make sure it works for both. Our last example that I'm going to go over because it's different than all the other problems that we had. It's a little bit farther into real world math. Ashley has invested $3,000, some in stocks and the rest in bonds. The stocks are paying 5% simple interest, and the bonds are paying 8% simple interest. If she earned $213 in interest the first year, how much did she have invested in stocks? So this is a matter of Ashley trying to figure out how much money she has invested in both stocks and bonds. So we know what variable we're going to use, or what we're going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with stocks, which I can represent as X. Remember, I can represent as any variable that I would like. I am choosing to use X. And Y for my bonds. Oops. Now I'm doing this because normally when you write this, I'm not a really big fan of writing S as a variable myself because I have sloppy handwriting. It looks a lot like fives if people don't know what my handwriting is, if they're not used to it. Now to break down each part so that we can create the equation, it says that she has invested $3,000. That is a total cost that were just in stocks and bonds. It did not say anything else, so those are the two things that I would be adding together. So my stocks and my bonds add up to equal $3,000. The next part is talking about rates. Interest is another phrase for rate of 5% for stocks and 8% for bonds. And it earned her $213. So this is a matter of knowing how interest works when dealing with real world situations. So what this means is that she was earning 5% of however much she put in her stocks plus 8% of how much she put in her bonds, which in 1 year earned her $213. So this is the same as our problems earlier where we have a rate. In this case, we already know how much nickels and dimes are worth. Now this one specifies, it tells you how much each one of them are worth and how much it earned her. So that's how I created that equation. For my video specifically, this is more of a newer type of problem based off of the situation. But we still solve it the same way. We want to eliminate a variable. Easier one would be the x. Just the same way that I was going to eliminate it in the last problem with 0.05. Make sure I get everything organized again. I stated that I want to eliminate the x. Need to rewrite my two equations. This time, I'm going to multiply by the negative 20. Shift everything over and make it look nice and neat. No other purpose other than wanting to make it look nice and neat. Now this is saying that I'm going to eliminate x. $20 times 0.05x will give me a negative x. 20 times 0.08 will give me a negative 1.6 y. And this will equal negative 20 times 213, which is a negative 4,260. Now, better safe than sorry. Make sure I check my math. Yes, negative 1.6y. All right. So I check my math, make sure I have everything correct. My x's are lined up, my y's are lined up, and my constants are lined up just to make it easier for me to see where I'm adding everything across. Yet again, for the purpose of making it easier to read, drew my addition and equals. X cancel out. Y plus a negative 1.6y will leave me with a negative 0.6y equals negative 1,260. Now my last step is to multiply by the 0.6, negative 0.6. I'm sorry, divide by the 0.6. And I'm left with y equals 2,100. Which in this case, she had $2,100 in bonds. I completely forgot to go after what I needed forgot to write what I was looking for. It wanted to know how much she was invested in stocks. We just found bonds. So no matter what, you wanted to check your work to make sure you were doing this right, especially since this is one of the first times that we have been working with stocks and percentages. We can take one of our equations, original equations, plug in our value, our known value of 2,100 for the bonds. When we subtract this from both sides, we get X, our stocks, is equal to 900. So in this case, Ashley invested $900 in stocks. So this is understanding which variable I use for stocks and understanding that I am looking for stocks.